Hey everybody! In this video I'm going to show you the steps that you need to take if you want to learn how to build in Fortnite. There is a lot to learn, and if you've watched my other videos you might not know where to start. Now if you're like me, you might have started with build fighting first. I started by practicing things like 90s and high ground retakes. And I noticed that even though I could get high ground and find early fight damage, I would still lose fights against low health players in close range. Against a good player, every fight is going to end in close range with one player inside a box trying to heal or escape. And since most fights end that way, the first kind of building you should practice is your box fighting. Box fighting is all about smart movement, fast edits, and good crosshair placement. Learning to quickly box up and take jumping right-hand peek shots like this is a good place to start.
Dude, just that same peek. It works every time.
Practice focusing on your opponent and choosing the right edit that will give you the most protection and the best angle to find a shot. Make sure you always stand on a cone or behind a ramp. This gives you protection against players who try to ramp over you. You can practice 3 simple box fighting drills to give yourself an advantage in close range fights. First, practice the Mongrel Classic. Destroy a wall, replace it, then edit it, and place a ramp inside. Edit the ramp, take a shot, and then move back behind cover. To safely start a box fight against a turtling opponent, build a box against their tower, turn around to place a ramp over yourself, then turn back and edit the ramp for a right-hand peek. Try to do this as fast as possible, focusing on immediately flicking your crosshair back onto the enemy player. To quickly establish piece control in a box fight, practice standing on a cone inside a box. Edit your wall like this, then look down at the side wall to safely place a cone in front of you. Now take a jump shot like normal. This prevents your opponent from protecting themselves with a ramp. Box fights involve lots of mind games and different strategies, so it may be helpful to watch my longer video about box fighting. You can find the link in the video description. If you find yourself losing a box fight and you see that all your walls are being taken from you, you'll have to learn another type of building. Tunneling is the second most important type of building. If you learn to tunnel, you'll be able to push box fights more safely and retreat from box fights more successfully. Practice efficient tunnels, straight tunnels, half tunnels, full tunnels, and diagonal tunnels. To learn how to build each of these tunnels faster and more efficiently, watch my video about tunneling. If you've practiced box fighting and tunneling, you should be winning fights against average players already. You've got a good understanding of wall replacement, phasing, and piece control, and you know what to do when your opponent is above you, below you, or in a box diagonal to yours. At this point, you know how to finish a fight, so the last thing to learn is how to start a fight and create an early advantage with a headshot from high ground. This last part is the hardest. There are a lot of building patterns that you need to learn, but some of them are more important than others. You should start by learning how to crank 90s, Thwifo cones, and side jumps. If you practice all 3, you should be able to perform a simple retake sequence that looks like this. As you learn different build fighting tricks, remind yourself that the goal of these builds is to climb upward quickly while protecting yourself and extending builds to interfere with your opponent. You can learn the basics of high ground retakes from my video on how to retake high ground, and you can learn more comprehensive build fighting strategies from my video on how to build fight. Start with box fighting and practice with creative one-on-one fights. Then start adding tunnels to your box fights and practice with zone wars, turtle wars, public matches, or arena games. Make sure that you always try to put yourself in a box and force close range fights with your opponents. Start practicing your high ground retakes and build fighting strategies with one-on-one creative build fights, then practice using one high ground retake in every fight during zone wars. Finally, do the same thing in your public matches or arena games. Even if it's not necessary, that high pressure practice will help you become more fluid and understanding of when each strategy should be used in real games. Now some of you might start practicing the tricks you've seen in this video and others later today. And that's great. Spending 10 to 15 minutes in creative mode learning something new is a good place to start. But it's not the finish line. You shouldn't expect to immediately hop into solo arenas and start using these tricks right away. That's a big leap, and you'll get there, but it takes some progression to get comfortable using these tricks in a high pressure and unforgiving situation. In smaller steps, you can add real opponents, real material constraints, and real stakes to the learning process. Even if you are an experienced player, it will help you to take a step back, take a hard look at your gameplay, and make sure that you didn't miss a step along the way. I hope this video helped you figure out where you are in the learning process, and I hope you start practicing some new tricks and some old tricks later today. If you're still struggling and you'd like to see more beginner building patterns explained from the ground up, I'm actually doing live demonstrations of beginner building today, March 19th, and also tomorrow. If you're interested, make sure to follow my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Billy_Bicep. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you later.
Hello there.